Hello, fans and assorted stalkers, and welcome to Terrific Tuesday. Today we have Republique Remastered. This is actually a remastered port of a mobile phone game on Steam. Yeah, I know their reputation. They don't have a good one. But this game is actually really good. It's about a dystopian authoritarian government, essentially a look in a satire state, but, well, might as well get into it. It's an episodic game, and well, I've already gone through 3 episodes. 4 and 5 haven't been released yet, although I say this right now. Episode 3 gives you one hell of a gut punch. It all starts with a phone call. Yo. Who beat this?
Do you see me? Wait.
Yes, I guess.
Please, I need your help. I don't have much time. They want to erase me. They want to erase who I am. They're coming.
Hey, you have the ability. Basically, you're a hacker, and it's, well, your job to help out
Who
this
defaced
girl.
the pages of this manifesto? This is a disaster. This is poison.
These are my
fed
2
you this
favorite characters,
poison?
honestly.
It was the librarian, wasn't
Like, he's
it?
the most likable character,
Snake.
but
How
he's,
did nobody see these
well,
being
a
destroyed?
fun character, even if slightly evil. Cooper. Like, you're my favorite character in this entire thing. Plus, an actual decent representation of selective mutism and social anxiety. Like, you're able to essentially hack in and get information on, well, everyone, including guards and the like. Like, it's rather interesting, like, the stuff you can dig up on some people, especially their medical history.
Cooper, get us some water. Sovereign water from the commissary.
You're
Go!
not sure what the difference is. Oh. Yeah, she's a bit of a... She yells a lot. Oh, hi.
Where is it? Not the defaced manifesto.
I mean, do you think
Where
moving the
is
camera is
it?
gonna stop me from seeing what you got? This is a surveillance state. Besides, this camera would have picked you up. Ugh.
I don't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't
The game
know what
doesn't
you're
pull
talking
any
about.
punches.
Where is it?
Where's what?
I did not call
Oh
for
yes,
quick-
that guy. He's Derringer's a fucking ass. He's essentially the guy who does the dirty work in this, well, society. Basically, if you want someone dead, you go to him. Like, it's a very interesting take on, like, a dystopian future. Like, I suppose some similarities could be drawn to, like, BioShock's Rapture. Like, a lot of parallels, honestly. Like, not gonna lie, this Republique definitely feels a lot like Rapture. Like, essentially a government with good ideas, but, well, while Republique is more stable than Rapture at this point, it is not exactly gone as well as, well, people hoped. Like, the interesting thing about it is that each episode, like, continuously builds upon, well, the lore they were building. Like, you learn more about Zager and the people's past. And, like, the propaganda spin they put on a lot of the actions within this Republique is really fascinating. Like,
out for our republic, my friends. And in return,
oh, well, that's
watch over
subtle. It's a game that knows what it wants to do and does it. Although, like I've mentioned, this is an episodic game, but, well, like, the episode release dates are actually pretty far spread out. Like episode 1, I believe, was released in 2013 on the App Store. With episode 3, I believe, coming out, like, last February, along with the remastered version on Steam.
Recalibrate me.
Yep, brainwashing. as you do.
Watching me now. There's no way you can help me from there.
Oh, really now?
Watching me.
Yep, it's open now. You're welcome.
Did you do that?
Yep. Okay, so basically this is a stealth game, but an interesting thing about this one is that there's a bit of disconnect between, like, the player character and the player themselves. Like, the thing is, most games, like, well, essentially you and Hope would be, well, the same character. The goal would be to make you as synchronized as possible, but, like, Republique actually does it a bit differently by making her own character. For the most part. Like I would say that, like, it's, as an experiment, it definitely could have gone better. Like, honestly, I think Hope is kind of bland. I mean, she's technically as bland as, like, most player characters, where the player themselves is expected to fill in the cracks, but, well, since the player isn't allowed to do that, she just comes off feeling a bit bland. But the rest of the characters more than make up for it. Like, most of the major characters, well, they're actually technically the orchestrators of the, well, Republique. They're the higher-ups, and, well, they're very interesting characters and very good foes to go up against. Oh yeah, and this game was actually created through a Kickstarter, and I'm guessing one of the perks was to be able to have, well, your own guard, essentially, so you can imagine why there's a man named Don Fubar. Oh, and also using OmniView, you're able to hack a variety of things. Now I'm hacking a computer. I think. Hello? Hello there? Are you okay?
Looks like one of my colleagues has left a pin code sitting out for everyone to see. I long for the days when basic common sense was a prerequisite for gainful employment.
Hey, what can I say? They just want something cheap. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and open that pin code. Yep, go ahead and head in there, check out what's in here. I mean, there's that. Anything else of interest? Oh yeah, I'm so glad I could stop time with OmniView, but whatever.
This is P0 brand pepper spray.
P0.
Yay, pepper spray! Like, that's very useful. Essentially, basically it lets you get out of the guard's grasp if they notice you. Like, as it's a stealth game, well, you gotta avoid getting caught. Like, admittedly, the, like, consequences for failure aren't the most severe, but yeah, I'm gonna go and pickpocket him. Like, you don't want to get caught. It certainly impedes progress, but, like, it's not so much death as, well, simple impediment of progress. Not as bad as other games in terms of punishment for failure. Like, basically what happens is you go to a prison cell, which then, well, because I'm a hacker genius and shit, I'm able to hack, like, in a second, so, like, not exactly the most grueling of failures. So, typically what you do is you go around scanning as much of these as you can, because...
Got him. Zager killed in firefight with Prizrak. The depravity of this man was boundless. Best to remove the comments section for the online edition. And change shot dead by Prizrak to killed in firefight by Prizrak. This way it suggests he was given a sporting chance. When the surveillance video of this day surfaces, and it will, it's going to require major surgery if they want it to look like justice.
So, yeah, the interesting thing about this is, like, the dystopian government actually feels real, and, like, a lot of the actions they take can be taken in, like, even regular governments, or even just in regular circumstances, like, for example, turning off a comment section or something. Like, some people may say that, you know, you're silencing discussion. Others will say you're just preventing the inevitable shitstorm, because you can either view comments as kind of a synthesis of thought and conversation, or you could just view it as a bunch of people yelling faggot. Very interesting that a lot of the actions taken by this government, like, aren't necessarily evil in and of themselves. It's how they were used to manipulate the populace, but, like, it's not just one action that created this like, layer of propaganda and this, like, layer above the truth. Ultimately, it's all of them. It's a massive undertaking, and honestly, when it comes to government cover-ups, there's not going to be one smoking gun. Like, if there is, it's going to be very rare, but like, if there's going to be any type of smoking gun, it's not going to be like, oh, the government banned pornography. If you're going to discover, like, a government cover-up, it's not, whatever smoking gun you find is going to be, like, Watergate, I suppose. But what won't be a smoking gun was the Democratic headquarters being broken into. But what won't be a smoking gun will be a burglary. You can't really tie it to anything government related. What you, like, at most you could say is that a crime occurred. Ultimately, it's going to be a lot more, like, investigation to be able to tie it to the government or really anything major. Anyway, that was a bit of a ramble, but alright then. So basically I'm going to wait for him to look away and I'm going to go and hide in those lockers. What are you looking at, motherfucker? Think there's something to investigate over there? Yeah, you do that, boop. Yeah, thank you. Like, I do still wish that Hope was more of a developed character, but, like, I understand why she's not. It's actually kind of difficult to develop her as a character. Like, I would say they tried, but, like, ultimately, I think what she would need was to, like, talk more, even just to me. Like, detailing stories from her childhood and stuff. But, like, she mostly stays scared and silent.
Let's see what he's carrying.
Actually, let's just stay in the lockers
They won't
now.
find me in here.
How did he not see me? Like, admittedly, for, like, stealth games, it's not the most difficult, but it's still challenging, and honestly does stealth right. Essentially treats it like a puzzle game, which is essentially what good stealth games are.
Got it.
Yep, get in there. Yep, no idea he's not hearing any of that. Oh, and basically what I pickpocketed from him and the other guard was, well, floppy disks, which they're Cooper's, well, game collection, which, well, apparently he's bullied by the other guards, which might explain why he's trying to help us escape.
As a certified Kickstarter addict, my humble key resender is filled with enough side-scrolling chiptune games to fill a lifetime's worth of the Reagan era. Shovel Knight is one of the good ones though, an 8-bit homage that marries old-school platforming with cutting-edge game design. I cry a little tear whenever I lose my hard-earned gold after a clumsy mistake, and I love it. If 2014 had a baby with 1989, she'd look a whole lot like Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I actually did a Terrific Tuesday on that a while back. Annotation, I guess. Like, the guys whoever did, like, the floppy disk things and the write-ups for them clearly had a love for these games. Like, the write-ups for all these games that Cooper provides are actually really, like, engaging just by themselves. Alright then. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get you behind those boxes! And not gonna lie, I actually do like the art style here. It feels like a, like, legit, well, building, since, well, this entire, like, society is built underground and indoors.
Indoors, indoors, indoors.
Welcome to my
Yeah, this is a data broker terminal. You're able to essentially sell information gathered and, well, essentially able to buy upgrades for your, well, OmniView, which, like, there's some pretty cool ones. You're able to scan email, scan phone lines, create distractions. The distraction ones are very useful. Yep, Prizrak, as you do. Ah, looks like they have an old Zager board. Yeah, Zager's kind of the, like, main...
Let's go for the steel.
Okay, why the hell would you go that way? Like, Hope is able to somewhat move on her own. Like, I presume to give her more a night feeling of being alive. Also, the fact that sometimes she would go... No, do not go that way. Seriously, are you a fucking idiot, Hope? But still, it's weird that sometimes Hope just goes, like, the complete wrong path. Like, she was gonna go right in front of that Prizrak. That's not something you do. Let's see, where are you going? Ah, so... Yep. Smart girl, for once.
Going in for the
Okay.
steal.
Yep, go and grab that, then I think I'll go and head there.
I got something.
Nah. Yeah, no, you ain't gonna catch. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not catching me because I'm locking the motherfucking door. Like, that is definitely a useful feature, being able to lock doors behind you to, well, aid in your escape.
There is an ideal we all live by. A pillar upon which all our collective hopes and aspirations are stacked, extending upwards towards a
Like, a lot of the, like, audio files are where you get the majority of your, well, backstory for this game. Like, most of the backstory, most of how this place came to be, comes from, well, audio files.
Let's go through this door.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. It's locked. Like, very much locked.
Can you hack the door?
Nope.
Why can't you open it?
Hello.
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, because
I proceed
different...
with-
Basically, we need to
Seems like you have a
continuously update our Omni. Like, we're at level 0.5, but, well, right now, that door is at 0.1. So, which then, yeah, I'll have her hide there, and then...
Everything looks good.
I think I'll go ahead and have her pickpocket.
Zega's secret compound discovered. Inside the rat hole, sources say pornography, drugs everywhere.
Yeah, like, like, that's how, like, governments are able to, like, discredit, like, major leaders. Like, well, essentially paint them as drug-addled perverts. Let's bring it to the NSA. Like, there's been talk of the NSA potentially using, like, the data they collect in order to, say, discredit, like, terrorist leaders is who they'll say they're trying to discredit. Like, say, let's just say someone tries to start an ISIS branch here in America. If you then reveal that the person trying to start that leader, well, like some really kinky porn, let's just say doesn't exactly seem like the most holy of figures, but then the issue comes to applying this to revolutionaries who, like, aren't so, let's say, universally hated. Say, feminist leaders, civil rights leaders, and, well, religious rights leaders, disability rights leaders, I mean, general rights leaders of any group whatsoever. Like, they just didn't like the direction they were moving it in. Like, say, a feminist leader. Like, say, the like NSA or the government wasn't liking how, I'll call her Susie, was like leading the government or leading the populace. So, what do they do but, well, show that she's really into BDSM and humiliation porn. And, well, let's just say, like, the feminist dialogue on pornography is divided enough, but I'll freely admit I have some, like, porn habits I would rather not divulge, but, well, if they do get out, I'd be willing to own up to them, because, well, the way I see it, it's a fantasy, one that has to be explored cautiously, but one that is not inherently dangerous, and I don't believe pornography is inherently dangerous. It definitely has dangers, I mean, just for the fact that, like, almost all pornography is done towards a male audience. The narrative of what pornography is not exactly a positive narrative. Like, pornography, the narrative surrounding pornography paints it as, well, essentially what the lowest people in society use. It's for the perverts, the crackpots, pretty much anyone who is, by societal standards, like, bad. Essentially, the assumption is there's pornography, being chauvinists, misogynists, crime lords. Like, you can guarantee there's gonna be some sort of pinup or pornography somewhere in their house. Like, I don't know, for example, like Trevor in GTA 5, and, well, pretty much any crime lord that's not classy like the Mafia. So, yeah, a surveillance state can be a great way to discredit potential leaders. If just for the fact that you're able to get a lot of dirt on them and discredit people, because, well, I'll say this right now, nobody's perfect, and if you can find the right dirt, you can use those imperfections to bring somebody down.
I got some.
Over there.
Oh, god damn it. Okay, I'm gonna... Yeah, prepare for the fucking mace. Yeah. Like I said,
Look.
get out of jail free card, essentially. The Overseer's an interesting character because he's charismatic. Like, seriously charismatic. Like, you can understand why someone would follow him. The best leaders aren't always the most competent ones, but rather the most charismatic ones, because they're the ones who can get people to follow them. And that's essentially what the Overseer is. But he's also a sneaky bastard. Like, he's cunning as well, able to use his charm to essentially manipulate those around him to create what he believes is the perfect government. Not to mention able to, well, create a surveillance system beyond the cameras. Like, to create surveillance units that even the people who are being surveilled by them don't know about. Like, the cameras are pretty obvious, but let's say putting a camera in one of his gifts is a little less obvious. Like, audio files of Hope do shed some light on her, but compared to the other characters, she's not as developed as much.
You hungry?
You know, given the amount of, like, audio files they're able to get up, it kind of, like, paints a picture that there's, like, a lot of hidden microphones all around here, with all the data essentially being backed up. Like, not only video files, but audio files and text files and everything.
My inspiring pupil. I know you're not accustomed to gifts, but this is more than just some trinket. It is a secret.
This is slightly creepy.
Between you and I, and it cannot be shared until we are both ready.
Oh.
So I will keep the key for safekeeping until the two of us agree to open it together. Until then,
this is very creepy.
I hope you will treasure its beauty as much as I do you. And when you gaze upon it, I hope your thoughts will be of me.
I hope they're not, you creeper. Oh, and also another thing, like, there are multiple collectibles. Like, there's Cooper's video games, but there's also contraband
The girl
books.
has found one of the banned books. The Overseer has been...
Basically, the Overseer, the head honcho, like, has the habit of banning books he doesn't like. You know, in order to shape the mind of the youth in the proper direction and all that.
There are few things, librarian, as disappointing as failed leadership, especially when that leadership fails by giving in to mental illness or desire. Hawthorne came from a line of leaders, but you wouldn't know that by reading his account of Dimmesdale. The Scarlet Letter would teach our citizens that its leadership can succumb to the weaknesses that we work daily to cure. Such doubt is unacceptable. Where would we be without faith in government?
The Overseer actually makes some interesting points. Like, every banned book provides, like, a reason from the Overseer as to why it was banned, and, like, you can understand the reasoning. Like, faith in government is, like, a useful tool. Like, not just from the government standpoint, but from the citizens. As, well, essentially that lets you let the government do its job without having to, like, constantly worry about whether or not it's going to collapse. And, like, we need trust in the police force. We need trust in them that they will do their job, even if that's not always true. That trust lets the good officers do their job, and the same thing with government. Trust in the government lets a good government do its job, but a trust in bad government, well, that lets the government do what it wants. Like, the thing about a lot of dystopian, like, literature and fiction is that it tends to dehumanize, like, the dystopia, and just demonize them and blow them up their flaws without really, to a point where it doesn't seem like you're satirizing the government anymore. Like, that style of government. Well, I've read one Ayn Rand book. I didn't like it. It was not subtle. It just kept bombarding you with how freedom was awesome and authoritarian government sucked, dude. Honestly, the government they presented was so, like, disconnected from reality that the satire kind of fell flat. that's what I like about this one, is that, while still satirizing the government, at the very least, creates a believable version of that government and doesn't have to rely on cheap dehumanization in order to get their point across. It shows, not tells. Trust me, from what I can tell in some dystopian, media, especially in America, that would be anti-communist media, they don't tend to do that a lot. It's very disconnected from reality and very, lazily done. No idea how he doesn't see me, but whatever. The guards are apparently stupid here. Nope. That was nope. Oh. Okay, he spotted me, so go and mace him.
Oh, no.
Yep, mace and go and take that game. The game for the most part. Actually, yes, the third and final collectible, the Zager tapes. Now, the Zager tapes are actually a bit more difficult to use since, you need to find a cassette player, and, it's only in episode 3 do you get a portable one. Most, you have to find, Zager hideouts through vents. In order to get those, you need screwdrivers, which, they're actually, screwdrivers not exactly easy to find. Oh yeah, and Tycho from Penny Arcade was actually one of the Kickstarter backers. So, just in case you've ever wanted to mace Tycho in the face, there you go.
Let's go for the steal. Nice.
Let's see what he has to say about this banned book.
The sense to try and then find a translator for dragging this garbage into Japanese. Out there beyond our walls, Lady Chatterley's lover has a reputation as sidekick to hormones in adolescent awakenings. Puberty is a delicate time. We need to cultivate it as a plant in a garden. We cannot teach them control with this floating around. I assure you, we know better than Lawrence.
A lot of his justifications for the banning of books is based on how he'd think it'd affect the youth. He essentially views youth as, growing up something that needs to be very tightly controlled so as to not, fuck it up. Be able to turn them to, raging sex maniacs or, just in general, people who've never learned the value of control. I mean, in America alone, we constantly complain about how our generation wasn't raised properly like the current generation. About how, kids today don't know respect, and kids today got it easy, and blah, 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 and all that my generation was better than yours despite segregation. Yeah, everyone has their own idea of how a proper way a kid should be raised, and this is what the Overseer's idea for that is. Certainly it's very controlling and doesn't really give a shit about personal beliefs or ideologies or happiness. But it's what he believes creates the best results, the best citizens, the, best people. And ultimately comes to a question whether or not that's a worthy sacrifice to make. Okay, there should be a charging station over here. Especially since my battery's dead, so... Although, interesting thing is that, Hope actually doesn't have infinite inventory. She actually has very limited, especially by video game standards. You're only able to have 3 cans of mace, couple mines, and...
battery was getting low.
Honestly, if this were any other video game, you could, store one of the guards down your pants. Pickpocket as many guards as I can. It's actually quite fun. Provides a bit of additional challenge to the game.
I'll check his pockets.
Let's just go and pickpocket for now.
Got it.
Yep. Kentucky Route 0. Play that eventually. We got Clink, who's also known as the Wizard of Oz. I'm guessing it's part of a counterfeiting gig. Counterfeit yourself a bad name, son!
Going in to pick his pockets.
Yep, you better hurry.
I got something. I'll be...
Yep. Man, I'm actually a lot ballsier in my second playthrough. I would have never even attempted the type of stuff in my first playthrough, so... Let's see what he says about this.
Librarian. Oxytocin and endorphins lead so many to mistake robotic chemical responses for emotional attachments. Worse, though,
emotion is chemicals.
He suggests deviant behavior as a mechanical way around the trappings of societal control. We cannot let people think their bodies are ways around the state. They must exercise the Republique with their bodies in everything they do. Everything. Throw naked lunch in the pile.
The Overseer, emphasizes a lot of complete control in what he considers to be his ideal state. To be able to perfectly mold the perfect citizen, you must have perfect control. To, make everything perfect. Yeah, that's pretty simple.
He's right there.
Yes, I am aware. Let's see. I think I might try and get that banned book while trying to pickpocket him. Because he just keeps heading in and out. Admittedly, the Prizrak routes might be a bit... No idea how he did not see me, so...
Can you believe that many regard Whitman, the iconic poet of the American Republic? That alone says enough. This verbal monument to sensuality and excess, you know that no library except Philadelphia would touch it after publication. Reading it is like watching the man stroll naked through the streets. I, too, sing
welcome to New York.
Electric, though perhaps more forcefully than even Whitman could enjoy.
You know what, I'm gonna go and lock him in there. Because you deserve it! You're evil! Seriously, a lot of people have borderline dissociative identity disorder. Or beated. Leisure Larry. Oh, Justin. Now all I gotta do is get over here.
I'm pursuing the girl.
Son of a mother barrel. Yeah, you know what to do.
Help!
Yeah, burn! As you can imagine, this, authoritarian government has a bit of a problem with, fictions depicting sex and sensuality and all that. Although the thing about, this, the Overseer, what he emphasizes is, a matter of control. Basically, to my knowledge, what his argument is that if, the masses with exposed to, essentially these expressions of sexuality and sensuality and all that, would, essentially discourage control. Particularly in sexuality and excess and all that. He argues that essentially the fiction is a stepping stone for essentially controlled, sexual, behaviors. He doesn't ban sex or anything, all that, although I don't know his laws concerning marriage. Or, I'm not entirely sure if anyone's actually had sex in this compound, since I don't know how long it's lasted. I don't know, for all I know, this guy might have a couple hours of videos of just people fucking, but anyway. Back to the point on excess and control. It emphasizes, his Republique emphasizes quite a bit of control of mind, body, and spirit. And, he fosters that by very strictly controlling the type of books and, type of fiction that, the students are able to receive. Which is his way of molding the perfect citizen. Oh no, the door's locked. I couldn't open it for whatever reason because plot.
Marie.
Because I'm awesome.
Execution, and this is how you repay me.
Yeah, that's like saying, it's like a parent saying, hey, I didn't smother you as a child, so you should be grateful.
One of the great terrors of literature is its ability to touch a reader's unspoken experience. But you understand, librarian. A Republique requires peace between its citizens. Animal Farm gives voice to bigoted trends we must erase. Its laws separate citizens into different body types. Those with 2 legs, and 4 legs, and wings. It's a short jump from this fiction to realizing that you've never liked the color of your neighbor's skin. This one belongs in a cage.
You know what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and as horrible as an authoritarian, surveillance state is, it's built with good intentions, and while there are ideas that may be used to justify those types of states, let us not presume that they will always lead to that state. look, I'll say this right now. Just because someone calls you racist doesn't mean they're infringing on your First Amendment rights. Like, you may not like them, but, well, they're expressing just as much of the First Amendment as you are. And that's the same with, like, pretty much all activism. The idea that this activism could go down a bad path is something that should be addressed, but not something that should be treated as, well, essentially what will happen. It then comes to the debate of their traditional activism, you know, protests and all that are actually effective, and whether slowly convincing people's minds are actually effective, or would a more radical change necessary. But, like, for that, I honestly think change just isn't happening quick enough for people. I mean, ultimately, change is gonna occur slowly, and sometimes slower is better. Yeah, it's probably not fair to say it'll lead to a Republique, but I'll say it's right now, like, attempting to force change is ultimately just going to create two very divisive sets. While you may get more people to agree with you, you will also get more people to disagree with you. Basically, ideas are best spread when under fire, honestly. And the more divisive an issue is, the more people you group into, well, both sides. Oh, that was certainly a tangent, but anyway. Time to upgrade the Omni. I will say right now, if you have epilepsy, like, at the very least, look away during the Omni upgrades. They give me a headache. Okay, I think that'll be all for today, so... Why does Republique Remastered deserve to be on Terrific Tuesday? Number one is its solid stealth gameplay. Like, we've been seeing a lot of attempts at action stealth, and not gonna lie, most of them beyond Dishonored didn't really work, and well, Dishonored wasn't really action stealth, it was essentially half stealth, half action. Like, so somewhat impressed by how well they actually managed to pull off the multiple gameplay styles, but anyway, like, this game is pure stealth and it handles it well. Like, you have to avoid getting caught in order to progress through the game, and it becomes a bit of a mini puzzle where you essentially scout the locations around you, looking for any types of distractions you could do, as well as just how well armed the Prizrek you're going up against is, and looking for any potential distractions, and just in general looking at and analyzing the Prizrek's route and to find any ways you could sneak past. It's really fun stealth mechanics and very well executed. Next, it's one of the best satires of dystopian governments I've ever seen. Like, not gonna lie, there's probably some better ones in literature, like I haven't read 1984, but honestly, most, like, dystopian novels I've read feels very disconnected from reality. Like, it doesn't feel like something that could happen, and like, I'll say this right now, like, dystopian governments, as bad as they are, there is a reason they exist. There is a justification for them. There's something the leader said to justify it and convince people, to get them on the side, to convince them that this style of government will work. Gonna get any type of dystopian government right, you've got to be able to convince the players as to why it would exist in the first place. And this does it well, like, especially in the later episodes as you go through the game. I'll say this right now, you need to check out explore every nook and cranny is what I'm saying, especially scanning in the Omni view. Like, you get so much backstory, which really fills in the world. Which I suppose is the next point, like, there is a lot of engaging content, like a deep, well thought out lore. Like, it makes the world feel believable, which, as I've established, is kind of necessary in a dystopian future, at least to have it have any sort of impact, rather than just some, like, sci-fi action romp. But if you want to have actual, like, satirical impact, you gotta make it believable. And that's what, like, essentially all the, like, extra content and, well, world building they did was for, with, like, so many audio files and audio logs, essentially. It's very engaging, and the characters, for the most part, are very engaging as well. Like, minus Hope, of course, but, well, she's essentially your typical playable character, but, well, without the player to fill in the cracks. But beyond that, the rest of the characters are all very fun and engaging. Like, the Overseer especially is a very good character. He's a character that, honestly, out of all of them, gets the most development, which makes sense, since, well, he's the leader, he's the one who set this whole thing up, and for the world building to work, you kind of have to understand, like, how he was able to set things up, and just in general, how he's able to sell his government. Like, how he's able to convince people to come here, and how he manages to keep it stable despite, well, honestly, a lot of discontent. Like, the Overseer is, like, a very interesting character. So, I think that'll be all for today. Like, favorite, subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.
Are the stories and secrets we all keep hidden from others. Gone Home is a beautiful game, one I found myself ruminating on long after its credits. I found myself thinking on the Overseer's manifesto and his crusade for a more idyllic society. Our relationship with technology provides order and control. Yet, even in a place like this, there are things even cameras can't see.
See you this Thursday for Terrific Thursday.
As a certified Kickstarter addict, my humble key recenter is filled with enough side-scrolling